Joining us to speak about a world of opportunity afforded by the industrial Internet of Things is Andy Chatha, president of ARC Advisory Group. Andy, welcome.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Andy, at the forum this year, the industrial Internet of Things obviously is a very, very, very big theme. You talked about that today in your presentation, but let's go over that now for the viewers. Let's define this Internet of Things, this industrial Internet of Things. Walk us through that. What exactly is that? And give us a distinction between that and the consumer space.
Russell, as we call it here, industrial internet, and in Europe they call it Industry 4.0, it has several unique characteristics as applied to the industry. Yeah, for industry, the number one criteria is that internet has to be safe and secure. You know, no one wants to connect their plant or maybe, for that matter, you know, a car to the internet that's not safe and secure. So the first thing is the internet has to be very safe and secure. Then on top of that, you know, once you connect it, you want to bring all of that information and you want to analyze it. Then you're talking about more having some real-time analytics in many situations and so forth. And then the key goal in the end is that you want to predict failures and avoid accidents because that's a big problem in the plants, as well as it's going to be actually other assets to achieve maybe zero downtime and eliminating accidents. That's the ultimate goal for the industrial companies.
I should think another one of the reasons, or one of the things that distinguishes the industrial internet from that the consumer knows about and enjoys is the staggering amount of data that is now available and is moving through the II.
Absolutely. As you know, a plant or maybe a car, they have literally hundreds and thousands of sensors, and you are bringing that data and you're reading these sensors in many cases actually in seconds or even less than seconds. So you are accumulating enormous amount of data, and you need the capability to be able to analyze this data and make sense out of this data. That's very important when it comes to industrial internet.
Andy, you've mentioned security, cybersecurity, clearly a major issue. And when there's so much focus on that and so much danger to be encountered there, such great risk, why in the world would a manufacturing company want to be connected to the internet? Walk us through why you would want to do that.
Yeah. Clearly, you know, we do need safe and secure internet for any company to connect their plant or any other asset to the internet. You know, that's certainly a security has to be built into the internet. But on top of that, actually, there are so many benefits. Companies lose really billions of dollars with the downtime. They have accidents. You know, if there are certainly in the plants or maybe other assets, you know, you can have very assets and big loss of property as well as maybe life. So if you can avoid accidents or downtime, that's really big savings for the companies you are talking about, you know, millions and millions of dollars increased productivity. So that's number one. Number two, you can also, in fact, improve the productivity of your service people. You know, if you can schedule them on time and you can really predict when the failure is going to happen, and you can schedule your people, you can actually have all the right parts available, have the right instructions available, that can be actually big gain in productivity of your people. And certainly you are also talking about improving the utilization of your assets and your plants and so forth. So the benefits are so great that companies cannot afford not to do it. Actually, it's amazing. The last 2 days, I have heard so many companies saying that if you want to survive in this global marketplace today, you really have to start adopting some of these newer technologies. Otherwise, you're going to have tough time surviving.
Not only are certain companies surviving, but they're excelling because of the industrial internet. I wonder if you might share with us some examples of some either specific companies or verticals in which firms are utilizing this type of technology.
We had at the forum several companies talk about the use cases, and one company talked about it. It's an oil field off the coast of Scotland, and they are monitoring some of the big assets on this oil field using the industrial internet. And as a result of that, they were able to actually avoid a failure of a critical pump. And they found out that this pump was ready to fail, and they were able to actually ship the right parts. First of all, they didn't have the parts on the oil field, on the rig, and they shipped them, and then also actually they brought in the right technicians who knew actually how to actually put that seal in that pump. By doing that, they avoided the downtime, and they were able to save several $1 million. Now, a mining company in Australia, they are monitoring the tires on the mining trucks. These mining trucks are actually, they're huge. They cost, millions and millions of dollars. And by monitoring the tires on all of their mining trucks, they were able to actually reduce the downtime of their trucks significantly, and thus saving millions of dollars. We heard at the forum another company talk about actually their cement plants. They are monitoring some critical assets at their cement plant, and by monitoring and avoiding some downtime, they were able to save significant amount of money. Right now, what we are finding is, these are some of the big assets, the remote assets. Oil fields are very remote out in the water someplace, or maybe very remote locations. We have the same kind of situation with the mines. Many times they are not easy to get to. So at this point, actually, we are seeing that assets that are not easy accessible, and also the big assets which are very expensive, you can actually start to monitor them and avoid some failures on these assets. So there are many, many applications like this out there in the industry, and companies are already doing this.
Well, clearly those examples are proof positive that if you are coming to this technology late, you are missing out on an opportunity that might be costing you substantial amounts of money. Somebody comes to you, a potential customer comes to you and says, listen, I really am interested. I think I want to do this. What advice would you give them about going forward?
Well, I heard all morning here right now, the companies got to start taking steps, implementing. Certainly companies need to start, if they are not already, start testing industrial internet. They need to start creating some test beds and pilot programs, so where they can start actually, learning, more about these technologies, because it's not simply a matter of connecting to the internet. It's then they need the right people. They need to start training their people. They need to start hiring the people who understand how to analyze this lot of the data that's going to come from these assets, more analytics. And then obviously they need people who understand their process, and they need, so they need to assemble obviously the technology, the right people, and then they need to start actually having these people work together with their plants or remote assets and so forth. And also another very important aspect of this is they need to start working with their partners, their suppliers, because suppliers know their assets the best. and they can, their partners and suppliers can also help them better understand the performance of their assets and help them eliminate downtime. So I think companies can start jumping on this bandwagon actually now, and they need to really start moving in this direction and start finding the right applications. And it could be inside the plant or they could be outside the plant. And we think that companies need to start moving in this direction as soon as possible.
It's great advice. One thing I think we're hearing is that right technology, right process, right people, right partnerships. And if anybody is busy here at this forum, it is you, but you found time to sit down and speak with us about this very important subject. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's Andy Chatha, ARC Advisory Group, speaking about a world of opportunity that is yours through the industrial Internet of Things. Thank you for watching.